teens, illuminate anybody else out there that's watching this. I hope you enjoy this lesson here today. We're going to be talking about how God overrides evil with good. And we're going to be talking about the balance between God's plan and it's going to happen the way that He wants it to happen, but yet there is human action in the midst of it. There is God's sovereignty and human free will, and there is a balance there in the sense of both are in action, yet God uses what people might do for evil for good in the outcome. Now, again, it's not that He's excusing sin. He's not taking pleasure in sin. He can't go against His own character in this. But yet, even though something bad happens, He can use those rough circumstances for our good. So as we get into this, we're going to be talking about how in Joseph's life, there's some pretty rough circumstances, but God ends up turning that around and He saves his family, the ones that sold him into slavery. His family gets restored. I mean, this is what God is involved in here, which gives us hope that if any of your families are having issues, there's bad circumstances, God can turn that around and use that for our good. So as we get into this, in Genesis chapter 42, we find out that Joseph's dreams actually came true in the sense that they were bowing down to him. So we see, now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, why do you look one upon another? Why are you even looking at each other? Let's go over and get some food. We need some food. We're going to die of starvation if you don't get some food. So he sends them along. It says, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither and buy it for us from thence, that we may live and not die. Verse 3, and Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt, but Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob, sent not with his brethren, for he said, lest peradventure mischief befall him. So he doesn't want anything to happen to Benjamin, Joseph's brother. Okay? So they go on, the 10 brothers. Verse 5, and the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan, and Joseph was the governor over the land, and it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. And so here we actually find that Joseph, his dreams are coming true, but Joseph recognizes them. They don't recognize him. And so he ends up throwing them in for a few tests. I mean, he goes through and he calls them for spies. And they say, no, we're just brothers. And one of our brothers have died, but there was 12 of us total. One's still at home. His name is Benjamin. And can you imagine how emotional Joseph would have been throughout all of this? But here it is. They said, we're not spies. He throws them in jail for 3 days. And finally, he pulls them out and he says, okay, I'm going to give you some food, but I'm going to keep one of you. And if you want him back, Simeon, you got to bring Benjamin. And like, Dad's not going to agree with it, but guess what? They couldn't do anything about it. So Simeon had to stay behind. So the brothers go back. They take the food back. Well, guess what? Dad is upset about the whole entire situation. Jacob, Israel, he's got those names, and he's upset. But yet, I don't think he wants to send Benjamin. I mean, he's already lost Joseph. Doesn't want to lose Benjamin. At least he thinks he's lost Joseph. But then they are running out of food. So the only way that they can go back is if they bring Benjamin. So he finally allows them to go back, and he works through the situation. But let me ask you this question. If you were in this type of situation and you had your brothers coming in who hated your guts and who sold you into slavery, would you respond in bitterness, anger, frustration, or forgiveness, or mercy? How would you respond? Well, what would be different in your situation, and how would you justify your actions as you respond to people who have been a total jerk to you, or you think that they've been a jerk to you? as you get into this and you see more and more of it coming out, I mean, they come back and so they get Simeon, and there's a whole situation where Joseph almost throws Benjamin in jail, and Judah steps in his place, and so he's saying, okay, maybe these brothers actually care. Maybe they're past the whole point of ill will. Maybe they're past the whole point of hatred, and they actually care about each other now. So he's seen a difference, and it comes to the point, and I know there's a lot that I'm skipping here, but it comes to the point where they come for a meal, and they still didn't recognize him. He lines them up at the table in the fashion of their age, and they're confused. They still don't know who this guy is. All right, he's even talking through an interpreter, so they have no idea that he can even understand him. But as you get in chapter 45 and verse 4 through 8, it says, "And Joseph said unto his brethren, Come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt." So he finally fesses up. "Now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither, for God did send me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. And he hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and Lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt." So Joseph's kind of taking care of Pharaoh in this sense. This is what God used, these horrific circumstances, to raise him up to the authority where his dreams come true, and they're all bowing down to him, to the point where they're actually, he's saving them. He's saving them. This is the way God uses it. Joseph doesn't minimize their sin, or he doesn't take revenge. There's forgiveness. There's forgiveness. He's letting it go. I can't imagine the emotions behind this. I can't imagine everything flooding, everything being triggered back to his childhood and working through that in his teenage years and being sold off, and yet here he is, caring for his family. He says, okay, I want you all to go back, get the whole entire family, bring them here, we'll take care of you. So they do that. Jacob is excited, and on his way, God spoke to Jacob or Israel and says, I'll be with you. Don't be afraid. I'll take you to Egypt, but I'm going to bring you back. Right back to this promised land. Again, God is reaffirming all that he is in his faithfulness and sovereignty, how he works through some crazy circumstances with some messed up people, and his glory is shown in a major way. Genesis 50, 15 through 21, you'll find there a point where Jacob actually dies before he sees the outcome of God bringing them back. It's quite a while that the Israelites actually are in Egypt, okay? And we'll get into that later. But Jacob dies. In verse 15 it says, "And when Joseph's brethren saw that their father was dead, they said, Joseph will peradventure hate us, and will certainly requite us all the evil which we did unto him." So they're scared. They're nervous that since dad's gone, Joseph's going to rain down on them. "And they sent a messenger unto Joseph, saying, Thy father did command before he died, saying, So shall ye say unto Joseph, Forgive, I pray thee now, the trespass of thy brethren and their sin. For they did unto thee evil, and now we pray thee, forgive the trespass of the servants of the God of thy father. And Joseph wept when they spake unto him. And his brethren also went and fell down before his face, and they said, Behold, we be thy servants. And Joseph said unto them, Fear not, for I am in the place of God. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring it to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive. Now therefore fear ye not, I will nourish you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spake kindly unto them. And so he's saying, listen, you meant this for evil, and yet God meant this for good. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. God brings rough circumstances to the ultimate outcome of good for those who follow after him. What does this mean for your trials? How does this correlate with Christ? I mean, we're getting into Easter on Sunday. It's Good Friday today. I mean, Christ went to the cross. What? So he suffered for the sake of the ultimate outcome to be salvation, victory over sin and death. Christ wins. God is glorified. So he does this. Again, this is just the shadow of what is to come with Christ. This is how it works in our life. And there might be some troublesome times, but God uses it for us to grow and for us to be forgiving of others and to help others through each and every situation. I mean, this is how God works. This is how God's sovereignty and human action work together in a positive manner. So what does this mean for you? What do you, as a teenager, as an adult, whoever's watching this, what does this mean for you in the sense of trusting God with all that you have? Because we know that God is going to come through. It's going to be okay. And will we always see the outcome? No. But yet we know and can trust in God and persevere, endure through the trials, because we know he's got a plan and it's going to work out. I hope you enjoyed this. We're challenged by it in a serious way, something that will cause you to be changed. Hopefully the Word of God is changing your life. And if you aren't a child of God, call me, text me, message me, whatever it takes. We'll connect, and I'll help you understand what it is to know the gospel, to be saved. Guess what? You don't even need me. Just pray and ask God for forgiveness. Put your faith in him. Put your faith in him. You can directly talk to him and let him know. And he will save you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.